Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy that this is the first time the Construction Industry Council are partnering up with Austria and look into the heart of Europe for a knowledge exchange. To many of us, Austria and its majestic city capital, Vienna, might be more known for music and its nature. Not so known yet, it is a pride and excellency in manufacturing and engineering. Austria has shown lots of interest recently in the dialogue also for the construction technology sector with Hong Kong and Asia. And we were therefore happy to partner up with Austrian Consulate for today's webinar. Thank you very much, Carl, for this wonderful event.
Well, thank you, George. And it's a great pleasure for me to kick off this last and final day of the Austrian and Hong Kong Technology Days of 2021. These technology days were established in the framework of an innovation dialogue initiated by our two governments. For the Hong Kong side, it's the Bureau for Innovation and Technology, and for the Austrian side, the Federal Ministry for Climate Protection, Environment, Energy, Mobility, Innovation and Technology. And I'm particularly glad that there's such a strong interest in Austrian innovation and technology, also in respect to the building sector and construction industry. And very glad to have the Construction Industry Council on board with us today and see how we can share best practices that we've established in Europe, in Austria, and best practices here in Hong Kong, and perhaps challenges on both sides, and how we can together overcome these challenges, because as we know, urbanization is a strong subject that not only concerns Hong Kong, but also, of course, Austria, Vienna, as you mentioned just now, George. I don't want to talk too long, but let me just say that Austrian companies are ready to share their technologies, their innovations, their proven methods that they've developed and whatnot, share those with Hong Kong and our Hong Kong partners. I think they're on standby as it is. So let me just close by thanking again the Construction Industry Council, also the Green Building Council, Smart City Consortium, the Business Environment Council, and all our Hong Kong partners for constructively, no pun intended, coming together and working on the various issues that are at hand. So thanks very much for that. Back to Franz now.
Thank you. Also from the Advantage Austria team to all the partners involved. My main message, it goes on after these technology days, of course, as well. The Advantage Austria office, the commercial section of the consulate will be available also in the future, you know, to try to attract you, hopefully, to Austria, to show you innovation that we have. We have events in Austria as well that you might be able to join us. From my team, many of you know maybe Yvonne Choi, Florence Hui. You're also going to be available, but most important, of course, George Wong and the Construction Industry Council. Dankeschön for teaming up with us. With that, I reach over to my co-organizers from the Austrian side. Ms. Irina Slosar from the Austrian Research Promotion Agency, bringing us lots of innovation and technology from Austria. Irina.
Thank you very much. And thank you also for perfect organization. I would like to welcome all participants today in this webinar. So I work for Austrian Research Promotion Agency, which is core business. Our core business is actually to fund and financially support research projects, innovation projects, or technology development. And this is the reason why we were chosen to recruit Austrian companies for this event today. This event is organized by the project called Texport, and partners in these projects are listed here. It's Advantage Austria. Thank you very much for organization. Also Ministry of Climate Change. And we are collecting in this platform called Texport a lot of Austrian technology providers with a description of their technologies that they are offering to the world. So you are welcome to visit the page after this panel. We would also like to tell you that we are facilitating through this project collaborations of Austrian technology providers with countries abroad, and you are welcome to visit our B2Match session and also the Texport portal afterwards. I would like to mention some companies which are not able to speak today because the time cannot be increased for these sessions, like for example Cree, which are solution providers for high-tech timber hybrid-based buildings. They have already reference projects in Singapore, and they are also carrying Innovation Prize of Austria for their projects. Then Neubau Best Energy, that is the technologies for making energy efficient buildings, and their projects, their reference projects are also placed in China or in Kazakhstan. I would like also to mention Neuron Consult. They have a very special video creation software for underground engineering projects, or Princeton's that have mobile robotic systems for various tasks on construction sites and manufacturing facilities. All these companies and even more then you can find and meet in person today after this session. So please arrange the meetings. The meeting possibility is still open, and yeah, you have all information provided here how to do so. So just click the link. So this is from my side. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Irina. As the moderator, I'm very delighted to introduce today's panelists to you. First, we have Volker Schaffler, a program manager or coordinator of City of Tomorrow. He's from the Austrian Federal Ministry of Climate Action, Environment, Energy, Mobility, Innovation and Technology. Volker has been working on implementing smart and urban technologies since 2009. His experience includes working for the city of Vienna in its best practice hub as research scientist for smart cities, communities, and sustainability building at Austria's biggest research institute, the Austrian Institute of Technologies. And currently, he's very involved in Austrian and European programs to create the City of Tomorrow. Volker is quite familiar with Hong Kong. He was fortunate to have been a guest in January 2019 of a one-week sponsored visit program by the Hong Kong government to learn firsthand about Hong Kong's special circumstances in regard to the city planning and how to make the city and building more sustainable. Welcome back virtually, Volker. Second, we have Marcus Garcia, the Business Development Manager of Riegl. Riegl's terrestrial laser scanner provide details and highly accurate 3D data rapidly and efficiently. The company has over 40 years of experience in the research, development, and production of laser scanners, rangefinders, and distance meters. Applications of Riegl terrestrial laser scanners are wide-ranging, including topology, mining, as surveying, architecture, archaeology, monitoring, civil engineering, and city management. Then we have Alexander Petkov, the CEO and founder of Celantur, Linz, Austria. Celantur is a default image and video anonymization solution that helps companies, organizations, and cities to comply with data privacy laws. Their industrial-grade technologies, based on deep learning, can automatically detect and blur objects such as faces, bodies, license plates, vehicles, and facades while making this process cost-effectively. Hong Kong distributor partner is the Star Vision Limited. Last but obviously not the least, we have Terence LUI, the CEO of Veridis Limited. Terence is the CEO of Varadise Limited, a company specialized in building construction digitalization twin and intelligent management platform. Terence is the former head of digital transformation of Gammon Construction and managed the different innovation development projects, including BIM analytics, AI analytics, IoT, VR, and business intelligence, driving business transformation through technology. Terence is experienced in construction digitalization, how to monitor site activity and turn it into digital data. Furthermore, Terence also made use of this data to improve construction productivity, quality, and safety with an integrated construction approach. He is also the CEO of Telescope Consulting Limited, providing digital consultant service and digital project management of MTR driving digital twin for FM. So without further ado, let me start with the keynote speech from Volker Schaffler. The floor is yours, Volker.
Thank you very much, George. Hello and good morning, as we have an early morning here in the city of Vienna. So good morning to everyone. I feel very honored to present innovations in urban lighthouse projects from Austria on our journey towards decarbonization, but also on a journey towards prosperity. Very warm welcome, especially to all our representatives from the Hong Kong administration, as I was able to, as George had announced, to visit Hong Kong as participant and to learn firsthand about Hong Kong's excellent city planning and efforts to develop the city in a very sustainable way. And what I've seen was a very good city administration with real key experts, and furthermore, a fruitful surrounding of collaboration between companies, research, and administration. And I think that's what it needs to plan a really sustainable and great future for all of us. So for nearly 15 years, I've been working with cities in research projects to develop master plans, smart city strategies, digitalization, change management, and especially on, I would say, how to handle innovation within a city administration. Cities are much more agile than countries. Cities can build up synergies within their technical infrastructure because they're the owner of most of the infrastructure, especially in Europe. Cities can really make an impact because cities are often authorities for several regulations. But cities, we have a little bit of a problem because cities are the economic drivers of our world. They consume, or I would say better, unleash 2/3 of the world's energy consumption, and they are responsible for more than 70% of the global CO2 emissions. Cities have the potential to drive the decarbonization and to become, I would say, role models, but also labs and test beds for new technology. And I would say it's a competition. It's really a race for new services and new business plans, and which technology will be implemented into the climate neutral future. They can prove that the future will be more sustainable with an increase of the quality of living for everyone. So that's more or less the key target for our program called City of Tomorrow. But where to start? This is a picture of an energy flow chart of the city of Vienna, which is nearly the same like every Central European city. Those cities are more or less already built, so we have to take a closer look on our renovation rates. It shows the energy consumption of energy use by sector. And to sum it all up for you, it's next to industry, which is often located outside the cities. We need to focus on sustainable buildings, I would say climate neutral buildings and districts, and climate friendly mobility. So in our opinion, there are more or less two levels of how to demonstrate and prepare a climate neutral city. The first one is the district level, where you can solve many problems on a small, I would say, self-organizing way, and build up synergies would be between supply and demand. This is the level where I think that a lot of new businesses, services will come up in the next years. So this will really make an impact on a very local business level. And of course, the higher city level, where you need to plan the technical infrastructure of tomorrow and bulletproof your planning processes and your legal framework. Because we have more or less a stock of technologies that need to be implemented. Those will be the drivers of the future, but we're still preparing new business models to bring this on the ground. So I'm the coordinator of a program called City of Tomorrow, and our target is to enable Austrian companies to become climate neutral by 2040. So we started in 1999 with the mission to demonstrate the first passive house in Austria. And now Austria is more or less passive house champion. We have improved the whole Austrian construction and planning sector. Now you can buy a passive and plus 100 energy house solutions as state of the art. So we have really improved our sectors, and now Austrian construction and planning companies are best known for their quality and how they can handle complexity. We also develop and demonstrate the technology and solution for this mission. This mission is called Climate Neutral Cities. So together with the European Union, we have a research mission called 100 Climate Neutral Cities by 2030. The program, or the ministry I'm working for, has initiated and funded about 80 demonstration projects all over Austria, from greenfield development for new districts, plus energy renovation buildings. Our ambition was that all of these solutions are proven and can be ordered as status quo in the future. So we work very close together with Austrian standards and the representatives of the practitioners. So this is really key. So Austria is also hosting the Austrian Green Planet Building Award, which honors outstanding achievements of Austrian companies worldwide in the planning and construction of sustainable buildings. So there are several of these awarded buildings all over Asia. And this Austrian Green Planet Building Award and their clients abroad who have been significantly involved in the planning and construction of buildings that meet the requirements of the GBP awards. This is a very, very new award, I would say. And if you have the chance, please visit one of those buildings. I think there are about 3 or 4 are located in China, and they have been awarded by the AGPB. So I just want to give you a very short overview about what we've done in the last few years. So as I mentioned, we had about 80 demonstration projects, and most of them were renovation projects where we were able to renovate very, very old buildings up to plus energy standards. So, but we also have new buildings like the Science Tower in Graz with a facade with dice synthesized solar cell, for example. There's a very great building located in the city of Graz, which is the second largest city in Austria. And it's a demonstrator also for the company who built the technology. We also did a project called Plus Energy Building University for the Technical University of Vienna, which is still one of the most efficient buildings, office buildings in Europe. It's a plus building. It was a renovation project, and we managed to renovate this office building to a plus standard, which means it's not just heating, cooling, and the electricity for the technical facilities. It's also the electricity the people and workers consume within the building, and it's super smart. You know, there are more than 500 small little actions, like the whole floor will shut down when the last employer will leave via chip cards and so on, and it will cool itself with the cooler air in the night, in the summer heat. So if you are in the city of, if you will ever be in the city of Vienna, you need to visit this building. But this was on the building side. So currently we're focused a little bit more on the district level, because you can build much more synergies, and therefore we have two development areas that are very, very improved. One of them is in the city of Vienna. It's called Aspern, Smart City Aspern, where we also started together with Siemens, a research company. They're trying to, I would say, work with Aspern as a real lab. So it's an urban district, and with a very holistic and sustainable approach for the energy supply and consumption, which is all cross-linked. And those district is a role model for the future of the city of Vienna and also for Austria. So we try to implement new building technologies, something like wooden skyscrapers and so on. And also Smart City Aspern is also an urban district retrofitting area. So Smart City Aspern is a new build area, and Smart City Graz is a retrofitting area with a smart heat grid, with solar heating, cooling, but also with a very social approach, where we try to include social issues, but also try to, I would say, a little bit to manage the mobility within the districts and try to minimize cars and car traffic, but also logistic. In the city of Aspern, we also built several very improved building, like the Aspern IQ, which is a plus energy building, which means it produces more energy than its demand. So it's very high sophisticated. And I would say currently with Austrian technologies, you are really able to buy all these technologies and solutions. The thing we're facing currently is that we try to, I would say, build up new business plans, because the construction or even the real estate sector is focusing on a return on invest of about 3 to 5 years, and those buildings, you need a longer look to the return on invest, up to 10 years, I would say. But we found out that especially in office buildings, in the lifespan, that the 20% of the lifespan costs is the investment into the construction, 80% is the maintenance and the operation and the renovation and so on. So it's really a key issue to focus on the whole life cycle of the building, and that's what we're doing. And I hope that you will find an exchange with Austrian companies who are really able to develop and to implement and to offer you those technologies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Volker. I'm sure that Hong Kong has a lot to learn from Vienna and Graz for the net zero initiative that we all are working hard on that. Next, we will have Marcus Garcia, the manager, the business development manager from Riegl. Marcus, please.
Thank you, George. Well, it's great to see what we are discussing today from a macro perspective, but my part is going to drill down a little bit more into one of those technologies that Volker has just mentioned that can help achieve these goals. For that, I'm going to introduce you who we are, Riegl. Riegl is a business that has been over 40 years, as has been mentioned before, concentrating mainly in LiDAR technology. LiDAR, for those of you that don't understand or haven't heard of it, it's basically laser measurement. So what we do, what our instruments and sensors do, it's measuring anything from a small surface to a very, very large area. As we'll see in the next slide, Riegl has researched, manufactured, and delivered for many years anything from terrestrial scanners, scanners that you put on a tripod or on any other surface and scan 360 degrees with various degrees of field of view and capture everything around us. And then, as we will be hearing today many other times, and we've heard it already, that helps you digitalize the environment, everything that you see around. Terrestrial are the lowest end, the smaller ones, but from there you can go to airborne systems that are mounted in helicopters and airplanes for much larger area. Mobile, such as, for example, in this case here in Hong Kong, the Lands Department is using 2 of these mobile mapping systems to map the city, the entire city, so mounted on vehicles with an array of other sensors, cameras, etc. You also have unmanned for smaller areas that you combine actually your terrestrial digitalized 3D models with your airborne or your UAV data sets to then create a whole 3D environment. And then industrial that are used for the ruggedized for difficult conditions. So Riegl is one of the few companies in the world that in the segment of laser scanning covers the whole range of what we say are survey grade instruments for 3D digitalization. We live in since the 80s, actually, we've said in different aspects that we live in a data-rich, information-poor era. And it's happening the same, especially in construction. So in the next slide, we'll see briefly that what we do, what Riegl does is capture a tremendous amount of data. We do millions of laser measurements per second to create those 3D digital models that then need to be exported and interpreted by normally third-party applications. We also have a suite of software applications that help with the data capture from the planning stage to the processing and delivery of data. And then they can be used from many of the third-party applications for, well, construction is very, very wide. So from the planning stage to the delivery. And what we are proud of is of having instruments that have great speed, great accuracy, very long range, and reliability. But we can discuss later on even more in detail about what Riegl systems do to help the process of digitalization. And that's it for me. Thank you very much to all the people involved. And then we will continue the discussion later. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marcus. I'm sure actually many of the participants in Hong Kong, they are aware of this increasing use of laser scanning, and actually Riegl is helping Landsty to do a lot of laser scanning recently. So we will hear a lot of you again. Our next speaker, Alexander Petkov, CEO and founder of Celantur, will talk us through a somewhat more interesting topic that will save you from your worry about digital technologies invading your privacy. Alexander, please.
Okay, thank you, George, and yeah, good morning from Austria. Cool opportunity to speak here, and thank you, Marcos, to basically prepare the ground for me, because it's all about data acquisition where we can provide a value to. So let me check. Okay, now it works. Okay, we are basically a privacy technology company. And what we do is we help customers, so might it be companies or even municipal departments, to solve the issue of privacy when it comes to image and video acquisition. We are doing that by taking those images and videos, and we are putting that, or we are applying our software solutions to those images and videos. And we detect but not identify personal data on there and blur that. So blurring is basically you make you remove information, and you're not able to identify persons after the process. So give me a short rundown about data privacy. So as most of you, I guess, might know, there is a rising number of data protection laws around the world, and a rising number of customers and also citizens demand that their privacy is protected. Also, privacy is a human right. So why and how does help anonymization with that? So anonymization, as I said before, helps to protect personal information because it hides it. So it's easier for companies to avoid complicated legal topics and receiving written consents from individuals that get captured on videos or images. You avoid hefty fines in case there's data breach, and you can meet contract demands, for example, for public tenders. Also, it prevents misuse of data, like in discriminatory purposes. As I said, public tenders, we have learned from Hong Kong leads and also from customers in Europe that in public tenders, anonymization is a requirement. So if you want to get into the business, you have to have an anonymization solution ready. So for which use cases can those solutions that we provide be used? So we started off with mobile mapping, and that also includes indoor mapping, and we expanded rather quickly into images and videos that are acquired via drones, so aerial images. It also works with all types of images that are acquired by autonomous vehicles or autonomous devices like robots, and of course CCTV systems. And this is basically what it looks like. So this, for example, is a street level panorama from city of Beirut. Interesting background fact here. This has been collected by the University of Beirut after the blast in the Beirut harbor last year. And they use these images to detect automatically damages and assess the situation after the blast. We help them basically by providing our services and anonymizing all the personal data on there. So you can see even people that are here sitting in vehicles are not identifiable anymore, and even vehicles that are far away from the camera can't be identified anymore by the license plate. in times like these, where COVID basically is quite a big topic, it also works for people that are wearing masks, and for people that are basically not that good visible or well visible to the camera. So all in all, thanks for your attention. We are happy to provide you with our solutions and services, and we are happy to provide you those solutions and services through our local partner in Hong Kong, Starvision Limited. So thanks again, and I'm handing back over to George.
Thank you very much, Alexander. I'm sure most of us would like to have our face blurred when it's on the CCTV. But actually, I have a niece who found himself on Google Maps that he was very happy and excited. So this is a very interesting twist. Anyway, we will bring you to our final speaker, Terence LUI, the CEO of Varadise Limited. Terence will talk you through most of the technologies that he could help Hong Kong to get to a better city. Terence, please.
Okay, thank you very much, George. So today I just want to talk about construction digitalization. How do we monitor construction sites and manage construction projects in a more effective way? Because, you know, these days construction projects are getting more and more complicated, and then it involves a lot of people, a lot of resources. Digitalization provides us the opportunity to monitor, to manage, and collaborate in a more easy way. Because traditionally, you know, people just talk on the phones, or they have regular progress meetings, trying to figure out what is happening in each part of the construction project. But with digital technologies like sensors or apps, or a lot of digital twin platforms, people can actually literally see what is happening in each corner of the project and monitor things in real time. So today I would like to share one example from Hong Kong government projects. Maybe we can go to the next slides. Yes. So as you can see, this is one of the digital twin of a construction project. It's lagging a bit because of the streaming of the Zoom videos, but you can see with photogrammetries, you can literally monitor what happened over time, which part is excavated, which part is filled. All the records are kept in cloud, so that people can discuss about things, discuss about interface a lot easier, rather than just going on site to talk about it or talk about it over the phones. People can also, with GPS sensors, you can also monitor your dump trucks, your resource, how they are doing. Not just visualizing, but actually analyzing, recording all the activities happening on site and analyzing the performance, no matter efficiency, operation efficiency, or safety. So this is some kind of centralized platform that tells you everything about your project. Even with smart helmets, we'll be able to tell where your workers are, how many people are working on site. Are they working safely? Are they getting fever? Or did they fall down? All these are monitored 24/7 through sensors. I think CCTV is also another important source for capturing what happened on sites. With image recognitions, when people enter some fatal zones or danger zones, these kind of alerts can be prompted immediately in the platform, so that you receive an alert immediately, rather than something happen without people knowing, and which may cause a serious consequence. So I think digital twin is a very traditional, these kind of collaboration platform. People relies on dashboards to capture things, to present things in report formats or in charts formats. But for construction, you heavily rely on spatial data, because you need to know exactly what's happening out there. A simplified version of numbers or charts is sometimes hard to describe what is happening. So I think digital twin will become the future of these kind of centralizing platform. You're not just analyzing patterns or numbers, but you're literally analyzing spatial data and see what's happening in there. So maybe we can go to next slide. Yeah. So just now I talked about using digital twin to monitor construction projects, but what if we scale it bigger? If you can monitor project or physical change in 4D over time, what if you're monitoring city? Can you do the same with city management? I can tell you, I can't talk about too much details right now, but something is definitely happening. We have the Hong Kong model, the virtual Hong Kong model. So everything happening, if you digitize the process, if we can visualize in the platforms to monitor and to analyze to determine what is better or how to manage urban development in a more effective way. And I guess that's what I want to share today.
Thank you, Terence. That brings all the panelists back on screen. Alexander, Marcus, and Volker. Thank you very much. It has been a very good introductions and set the tone of our panel today. We don't have too much time. Let me start with maybe Volker and Marcus. Let's talk about something on digitalization, and especially in countries like Austria, which has a very long history and obviously many historical buildings. And how are we going to sustain the development of the cities? And especially, I hope Volker can share more on your City of Tomorrow initiative that we can learn from you. And Marcus, on how your technologies can help digitalize the cities and make it sustainable. Maybe Volker first.
Yes, thank you very much for this question. On a city level, as I mentioned before, you have to focus on two key elements. The one is the building stock, with all the planning regulations, and so on. The second one is the mobility issues, and especially for the buildings and all the technical infrastructure, you have to get rid of all those single actions. You have to focus on a district level, because you need the synergies. You have to use all the heat losses. You need to build buildings for, I would say, for the future now, because the building stock will last for nearly 40 to 50 years, especially in a huge European city. So therefore, you need a very, very sustainable mixed development and build up synergies. And therefore, you need all those technologies mentioned from all the speakers before. Those are the key elements, because technology and digitalization, this is the only way how to enable the decarbonization.
Yes, excellent, Volker. Essentially, actually, everyone is working towards the city level, and without the technologies, we could not can analyze all these data and things. And so, Marcus, what is your view on that?
Yeah, well, thank you. Volker has already touched on many of the areas that are very, very important. So we've seen examples of buildings that, as they've aged, they needed to be renovated, and not just simply renovated as they were because they've been aging, but to improve them as we are going into the future. So in terms of laser technology and 3D data capture, Terence has also mentioned some of the aspects that really help on this. But we don't have to see LiDAR technology as an isolated technology. So again, Volker has mentioned that the technologies are helping in the digitalization. When you're looking at a scanner, LiDAR scanner, you see as you have to see as a system, not just a sensor. So a laser scanner can be paired with a hyperspectral camera, with a multispectral camera, with a heat sensor. So you can be looking at many, many different aspects of the digitalization of a building, of a district, or anything at large, and combining all those different sensors, you will give the designers, architects, etc., the necessary tools to make the decisions within the value chain, the necessary decisions that will help improving the buildings. And what laser scanner technology do, as opposed to other technologies, is that you are measuring pixel by pixel, point by point. So you're able, for example, in an old building, to detect where there is heat loss. If you pair it with a thermal camera, you will be able to detect where there is retention of water, for example. We have different reflectances with laser scanning. So after a heavy rain, you're able to look at the facade of a building and see areas that are taking longer to dry than others. So there might be water pouches on the facade. So we could be really literally talking hours and hours and hours about it. But just to give that snapshot, the technologies that are now being used in combination with LiDAR can help a great deal improving the buildings and overall construction.
Right, that is right, and obviously we can talk hours and hours for these topics and others. For those who are attending, you can have your questions type in the Q&A or in the chat room, and then also you can book a one-on-one to know more about this, and then you can talk hours and hours. But we have a limited time, so let me shift to another level from the technology actually helping to the side that people may be worrying about these technologies, that digitalization, that data privacy, that Alexander obviously touched on that, and then also the data security on this level, these two issues. So may I ask Alexander and Terence to share your view? Maybe Alexander, please.
Yeah, thank you. So what we learned really early on is that the services we are providing to preserve privacy on images and videos, these are just tools to enable businesses to do more, to get more work done, because there are laws that need to be complied with, and it's about construction, right? People want to build buildings, they want to make it more efficient, they want to make it more green, you name it. But there are laws that need to be complied with, and that might be data protection or other laws, and you don't want to worry about that actually. You just want to have an easy to use tool, and you want to focus on what you're good at, and that's maybe building something. And this is why our main goal is to provide services really easy, so they can be used conveniently. They don't take that much time and effort from or by the customer to use and include into their processes, and then enable them to get more business done.
Right.
Yeah.
Terence?
Yeah, I think so. I think digitalization on one hand could be really useful to monitor different aspects of the business, to monitor how construction projects working, which can improve the outcome and improve safety. But on the other hand, it's also monitoring everything. The more sensor you installed, the more cameras you installed, you're actually capturing a lot of other information as well, including personal information. So where's the boundary, or where should you stop, or how do you balance the benefit and the personal privacy is a really important issue. So I think making data anonymous or untraceable is one thing. The other thing is I think in the future, we should definitely have more discussion on data ownerships, who actually owns the data, and then to what extent we should capture information being captured, or the people who are being monitored should be well aware of what is captured, how will it be used, and how would it be destroyed. I think this kind of digitalization is blooming right now, but at the same time, I think we should have more discussion on how to use the information.
Right. Thank you, Alexander and Terence. Actually, I think like for the CIC, we have our BEAM standard already published, and then we have aligned it with the ISO 19650, which is for information management. And then at the very beginning, we have to have what we call the EIR, the Exchange Information Requirement, or the OIR, the Organization Information Requirement. And that, I think, is the core for that, which means that we get what we need. We don't acquire other data that we don't need. So this may help to solve some of the problem. And I think we should move on. Like I will let you all share some views on these questions, because people often say that technology is here. We have the technologies, but the people are not using it. People are reluctant to change their way of working. So this is all about changing their mindset. So do you have any good experience or a technique to share how to get people going to use innovation technologies to embrace this and to make our cities smarter and more sustainable? Let me maybe start with the Alexander, and then we go with the alphabetical order.
Yeah, true. So I think it comes down to convenience, because if you think about all the technological trends or new technological devices, gadgets, you name it, that has been able to get a broad audience and broad user base, they are all really easy to use. So think of iPhones, think of smartphones, think of tablets, whatever, you name it. As soon as people can use it really conveniently, and if it's affordable, then it's easy to use, and then it will be used.
Right, good, very good point. As long as it is on iPhone or Android, right, and everybody is eager to use. And then exactly. Perhaps Marcus, next.
Well, we face it all the time. We face it all the time because we are not a measuring tape. We are high-tech equipment that provides a lot of information, but they are costly. What people don't tend to realize is when they come to the technologies, to these sort of technologies, is how efficient they are for their overall processes. And that is where many times you need to convince them. The trade at large is moving into that direction. But you can see, whereas traditional, for example, one of the examples of construction, traditional surveying was measuring one point to another point with a great accuracy, with an even greater accuracy that we can measure right now with scanners. When you're able to measure 1 million points per second, then you're 1 million times more than 1 million times more productive. And that together with the use of that data, that is, again, helping the whole value chain from before you're thinking about starting a construction project all the way through to delivery and monitoring, like Terence well mentioned. So these technologies, many of these technologies are helping along the way, and it's something that didn't exist before. So when new people are thinking about implementing these, they need to open their mind, broaden the horizon, and see the amount of areas where they can help.
Thank you, Marcus. I will go with Terence first. What is your view on this?
Okay. I think people should be aware that digital solution is not something you just buy off the shelf and then it will work immediately. So traditionally in construction, we buy generators and then you put in fuel, it works as what the specification says. But for digital solution, it's not just buying a generator. You need to think about your application. You need to think about your project workflows, how information flow through the application. So there are a lot of testing, tweaking, customization to really merge it into your daily business flow. I think people need to be more, pay more attention to these kind of things, because top management, the way top management see information is different from what the front line is looking at. So when you are adopting something new, some kind of new technologies or new digital applications, you should really look into the information level of details, how it actually fits into your daily workflow before it becomes useful. So I think one common mistake is they try to apply the same workflow or the same level of information to everyone from frontline to top management. But so that it might be useful to the top management, but the frontline will think like, oh, this is not my daily work. I'm just keep on typing information for the top management, which increase my workload. So a lot of time, besides culture, this is one thing people should be aware of.
Right, right. Yeah, not just culture, but we actually need to look into the differences between the workflow between top management and the actual site management.
Right.
And Volker, last but not least, I would like to hear your view because of your office experience in the city of tomorrow.
Yeah, we worked a lot with the construction industry and also with the planners and architects. And I have to say that normally they have a very, very high pressure depending on costs and time. So they need to use their scheme number A, you know, more or less all the time. And you need to find someone who's willing to demonstrate something beyond. And if you have someone, we will fund them with €1 million to demonstrate, and then bring all the other people into this building, show them does it work, and especially try to find an add-on. So we find people, try to implement, for example, Plus Energy District, and they're not selling real estates anymore. They're selling, they offer mobility, different services, and so on. So they transform into different companies, because in this within this concept, you're not firing your district with coal, gas, and oil, which comes from abroad. You're firing with something on the local level, which means the money will stay in the local level on several services. We currently have started a business scheme where house owners in Austria, if they want PV on the roof or something like that, there's an energy service company, they plan it, they invest it, they maintain it, they sell you that cheaper energy, which is just 1/3 of the normal energy price, because you don't have to pay the full amount of taxes, you don't have to bound the grid costs, and after 12 years, you will get the owner of the whole technical facility. So
Right.
there, you just have to find new business cases, and there are a lot out there.
Right, exactly. Thank you very much. You bring out a very good points that first, the government or the client or anyone that is leading should bring in their showcase to let others know there is benefit, which can lead them to a value-driven mindset instead of what we call a compliance-driven mindset. This is very important, and I hope as we share our views and the participants can share with their friends, their colleagues, and to change their mindset to embrace this innovation technologies to bring us to more sustainable development in the future. I have the liberty to extend a little bit of our time And so let me see if we have any questions from the floor. I have one here for Volker, and it said, how difficult is to outfit existing office building to turn them into energy positive buildings? It's not talking about net zero, it's energy positive, right?
Yeah, and it means you aim for a positive annual energy balance. And if you take all our European or national climate targets seriously, more or less every building need to be at least need to have a neutral energy annual balance. So it's no problem. It's just on a technological level, it's no problem. On a planning level, it's quite complicated because you have much more people and stakeholders you have to work with. But there are, as I mentioned before, you have a higher revenue if you do it right. The problem is you really need to find something who wants to go this journey with you, side by side. But in the future, I think there is, for us or for the European Union, there is no doubt in 2050, most of our districts and buildings will be at least climate neutral buildings. Otherwise, we're not able to fulfill the energy deadline. And just imagine what this means for the construction industry. I mean, I'm in the wrong business. I should start a construction business.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Terence is smiling happily. Very good, Volker. So any of you want to share this, or I can move on to next questions? Perhaps next question. We don't have much time, actually. I can't extend too long. I'm not sure this one is for which application. It reads, what's about import and export of data from and to your app? Are there any possibilities? So what apps do you think?
I think this is either Terence or our solution, I suppose.
Yeah, so maybe Terence and Alexander, you try to answer this.
Yeah, so easy to answer. So we have two solutions ready, basically. So we provide a cloud service where customers can upload the data via a web browser. That's really easy and really convenient. And the second solution is to provide our software solution as an on-premise container, so it can be installed on a local machine, and it can be also deployed on a private cloud environment. And it's really easy to get data in and out then.
Terence, your application?
Okay, if you want to build a centralized management platform, which means you need a lot of data. You need valuable information on accurate data as well, because garbage in, garbage out. To do that, you need to think about your whole data pipeline, how information moves in through, very commonly, maybe API. Some people talk about gRPC these days, or data streaming using different kind of technology. So I think data in and out is really critical to digital twin and to these kind of centralized management platform. And it's really common to do it with APIs these days.
Yeah. Currently, the technology is actually very convenient for this import, export, and then upload and download things like that to and from any of your applications, I guess. So I actually missed one question, actually also for Volker, which is similar to the one you answered already, which what does N plus energy building or district mean? And building produce its own energy via solar or similar? And what does a passive house mean? Volker, you have muted yourself.
Thank you, Ryan. A passive house is a building with about minus 75 to minus 90% for energy usage, and it will also work with passive cooling, for example, passive cooling and passive heating. So we call it a little bit minimal technology. So put as few technologies in there, but that's just one single point. And if we went forward to plus energy district, this means it aims for a positive annual energy balance, and it works with synergies between office buildings, residential buildings, and especially with waste heat. So we call it energy network.
Energy network.
It's a low temperature energy network.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very good. I think, as you said, actually all buildings or built assets has to be positive energy, right? Otherwise, we cannot fulfill that 2030 our vision, right? Okay.
Yeah, and you can sell the energy.
Yeah,
yeah.
Actually, people are selling their solar stored energy from their water, right? And okay, I guess one last question. Let me see. I think we have. I guess we have one question. Oh, yes, this one. I think all can respond it. It says, are solutions from building solution from Europe transferable into Hong Kong? Special condition here, high rise, dense populated, tropical climate, things like that. Oh, so are they transferable into Hong Kong? So Terence, maybe not you to answer.
Yeah, I'm from Hong Kong, not Austrian.
Okay, so Alexander, Marcus, and Volker, you can also answer this if you like. Perhaps Alexander, please.
Yeah, so absolutely. We did 3 successful demo projects with municipal departments in Hong Kong already. And yeah, so it works perfectly.
Yeah, brilliant. So please book a one-on-one with Alexander then. Marcus?
Well, it's not just between Europe and Hong Kong. Hong Kong does have very, very particular geography in some places and urban construction in others. But the beauty of the technology is that it adapts to the environment, and we are global players. We are an Austrian company. We do the research and development there, but we get to analyze the needs of everyone around the world. And one of the main reasons why we are here in Hong Kong is also to understand the needs of Hong Kong and to adapt. And we're working with some of the biggest stakeholders in that sense. The technology does adapt, and yes, it is possible. There are difficulties. For example, GPS signal in high-rise areas is a difficulty that we've found, but then we find ways to overcome it.
Right. Thank you. Volker, do you want to speak for some of your technologies company there, which is not here? Or
yeah, I definitely think so, because also in Austria, all the buildings I mentioned before, they're individual solutions. So you have to put more efforts into the planning process. But the technology is there. You just have to combine it into the right way into your how your demand is shaped.
Right. That's very good. Very rich to hear. Actually, technologies can apply to anywhere, but obviously for some situations, circumstances that we have to adapt or localize it a little bit before it can be really deployed to make useful applications. Okay,
and
so
I just want to add something. So we're also cooperating with our partner ministry in the Netherlands, and they also have those flooding issues, because also some districts are beyond sea level.
No, right. That you can share with us more on this later. Okay, so I won't pick any more questions because we have overrun a little bit. And again, I thank you very much for all the panelists, Alexander, Marcus, Terence, and Volker. And this is have been a wonderful panel. We share a lot of views, and I hope the audience can can get away, take away some of the positive points from us, and then trying to change the mindset, embrace innovation technologies, and bring our cities and the world to a more sustainable development. And to that, I conclude this panel, and then maybe I pass to Franz to say a few words.
Just a big thank you, really, also from the Austrian side, to all the speakers involved, but of course, especially so much to the Construction Industry Council. And we can see we are all in the same boat. We have similar issues. There are technologies here to solve, but it's the people behind. And if you all sit in one room, even a virtual room, I think that's a good start of this conversation. So thank you so much. Please keep in touch also with us here with the Trade Commission, and make use, if you still like to book some meeting for today with Alexander, Markus, they're still available. Thank you so much. Dankeschön, and auf Wiedersehen. Bye bye.
Thank you. Danke. Bye bye.